Everybody, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn and I'll be hosting today. We are without our chat mod, Dark Hours Co. So wishing her all the best. She's on her way to Sweden at the moment. So yeah, I'll be managing chat and also chatting with our guest, who I'll introduce in just 1 second. So I can see Dinah Rex in chat. Hello, how you doing? But please don't hesitate to throw in any questions that you might have as we're going along. We are live on YouTube and we're live on Behance. So, you know, we're getting around. Without further ado, because we've got lots to chat about today, please welcome me in joining Dale Bigeni, artist, illustrator, and designer from here in Sydney, Australia. Dale, back on Adobe Live. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to be back.
It's great to have you. It's been a while. I can't believe it's like April. Oh my God, it's April today here. And if you're in America, where we are in the future, so it's the 1st of April here, and it's not April Fool's joke to have Dale back on. No.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's all business, all serious.
It'll definitely not be that. We'll goof around a bit today. We're going to be hanging out for about an hour. We're talking all things illustration, design, you know, all that sort of stuff, which would be super cool. But Dale, for those who are not familiar with you and your work, can you give us the quick little lowdown before we jump into crafting today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an illustrator and a designer, obviously here in Australia. I dabble in murals and things like that, but I'm very comfortable in front of the computer and in my air-conditioned office, as we just spoke about. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've worked with pretty big clients like Disney, Marvel. I've done stuff for Harley Davidson. I just love drawing, and it doesn't matter who it is or what it is. I just like to keep the craft alive and a fire burning inside of me. So it's nice to give back to the community and show them a little bit of kind of grassroots, but with a little bit of a twist. Yeah, we're just gonna go through some stuff that's got me this far so far.
Nice. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's cool. Well, there you go. All right. Well, let's jump across. I mean, I can see that we're just on your monitor now.
Yeah.
And I can see we're in Photoshop. We're just starting from scratch. I love it.
Yeah, we're just gonna. I've got a few things kind of prepped, but I'm just gonna open a new doc and just we'll talk about kind of process and what's going on as I go. But yeah, any questions from in, but we'll just get started. So I'm just gonna open a new doc. We're just gonna work kind of small today. Not gonna work on a print or anything. We're just doing some demo stuff. So just a little web doc here. We'll just turn it. We'll leave it like that. That's fine. Actually, let's turn it. I'm going to just rotate this so we can go vertical. All right. All right. So what we're going to do today, I want to talk about this. I just spoke with Flynn about a bit of the chit chat in the industry about AI versus handcrafted design and where the fine line is drawn between how you create and how you don't create. I'm obviously been doing this a long time, so I started with pen and pencil and things like that, but I am definitely an ambassador of all things digital, and I'm not afraid to say that AI has been helpful to me. But I just want to talk through some kind of little skills that maybe people are forgetting about, or like maybe you're just starting and you want a little bit of a hint, or a few tips and tricks to how to create stuff and craft stuff that feels a bit more, what's the word? A bit more natural, a bit more human, but without, I guess, dissing too much on what our programs bring to the table to get us to the final product. Does that make sense? That's all clear?
It does to me, for sure. And I think like something that's really important is whenever there's been, because we were talking about, we've been around the block a few times as well, showing our age, but you know, whenever there's some sort of disruption, I remember print happening, and I remember people, you know, when digital was happening and they were saying, oh, it's the death of print.
Yeah.
But it certainly wasn't. Like, there's still printed things. We see printed stuff every day. And it kind of, I find that it's often really good to kind of steer into that handcrafted stuff when everything's going the opposite way, right? Like, sign painting became really kind of niche, but really cool and special. And so
absolutely.
did like, you know, that tactile print process as well. Like, I remember there was a bunch of shops. The distillery is still going. That popped up like right as print was dying, you know, stuff like that. So yes, I think it's always cool to go back to those fundamentals and like, you know, hey, you could tell a machine to draw for you, but you could also draw.
Yeah, and look, if you can't draw, like I've done plenty of streams about this. Like, there's no real rules to art. You do what you want, and if it makes you happy, it's all good. But I think drawing is something everyone loves to do. They all like to scribble and stuff. So that's
Mm.
kind of where we're starting today. I've got a little bit of
Nice.
a just a A4 sheet with like a bunch of scribbles, literally. And we're gonna just come up with some artwork based on what I have on this paper. So it's come from here. We're just gonna take our smartphone device, whatever you want to use. If you've got a camera, feel free to use a camera, but just shoot the artwork in good lighting and get it as crispy as you can. So if you've got a scanner, even better. But I'm just going to do it the easy way. I've shot it on my phone. I'm going to import it into. I'm just going to airdrop it. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to airdrop it nice and easy, and then I'm going to just open it up. So I'm going to go File. Sorry, I didn't know how to do that part, like show all that process without it looking like I'm just taking photos off screen.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a fine part to
So,
skip. But yeah, it is a bit of an art. Like I think the lighting is the most important, and you want it to be consistent. I've never owned a scanner in my life, so I got pretty good at like taking photos of
yeah.
things. And I find the main thing is consistency. You want a diffused light, and
hmm
you don't want any hard light, and you want to try to get it consistent. Because if you have like a really strong lamp or something, it's going to be really, really
Yeah.
hard to kind of like play with the
And
levels and everything.
yeah, so I guess like with that said, I try to just make sure it's as level as possible is the photo. So I know that I'm working with like all my artworks are on the same angle. You don't want stuff like skewed and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, as for the lighting, I kind of just like I use natural light, make sure that it's like not too harsh, like you said, and then I literally just open it up and you'll see it in a couple of seconds. That's it. It's literally scribbles at this point. So we're going to try to come up with some stuff using these elements, but like how I use it or what I would, I guess, just talking through like the the way I would use things and the different things I would do to adjust them or to make them integrated into one concise artwork, we'll call it. So we're not trying to make anything amazing. We're kind of just talking about the tips and tricks to get to the final part. Sorry. So this is our little sheet. The first thing I always do is I just desaturate it. I just get rid of the color like altogether, just because there's a lot of blue in there. It feels like a lot nicer just to work in black and white. And if you know me, I just love black and white overall. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's my thing. So I've got this little artwork sheet. My missus has drawn some little things, and I've drawn like just a whole bunch of rough stuff because I didn't want to, overdo it here. So perfection is not what we're looking for here at all, Flynn.
Nice.
So if I zoom in, you can see there's like I also like that there's a bit of texture in things. So you can see like kind of the marker has like a thick point. It's got some like
Yeah.
little flick offs. Some of it's in lead pencil, so it's a little bit grayer. But I like the lines you can get. And this is also nothing new to anyone, but this is just we're talking about going back to grassroots and going, well, here's how I can get it. You can do a Google search, find the same thing. You can use whatever assistant you want. It's all good, but I think it's nice to know that I drew it and it's rough, but I can use it and implement it into a design. So let's just use let's just start with the little sketchy skull here. So I'll just like, and also, so this might be the first time ever that I'm just using a mouse today.
Oh wow. Okay.
I
Yep.
don't know why. I just feel like I'm gonna prove a point that it can all be done without. Here's the tablet. I just for proof. So
He's still on a tablet.
yeah, I've got the tablet still, but I'm gonna try to do a bunch of this with just a mouse because I know the tablet's a little bit of a luxury item. So we've got a phone, a piece of paper, and a mouse or a computer. You're good. We're good to go.
Yeah, you want to go you want to go ultra. You got to use a laptop, a
A
13-inch
trackpad.
laptop and trackpad.
Oh, I've never done the trackpad. I can't do it. Even on my laptop at the moment, it infuriates me. It's the worst tech. But anyway, no
Yeah,
hate to the trackpad guys.
that's fair.
Um, all right, so I've got this selected. I'll just like do Command J and create him onto another layer so you can see him over here. And what I'm going to do, just so this is a bit neater, I'm going to arrange my workspace into side by side so I can see my artboard here. This is our artwork over here, and this is going to be our reference sheet, I guess. Excuse me. So I've just put him on another layer. So every time I pick something, I'm going to put it on another layer just so that it's easier for me to like pick and grab, and I can, manipulate this and not worry about destroying my original. So non-destructive design here today, but also destructive a little bit. So
can I just quickly, sorry to interrupt us as we're getting going, but you've got sort of the side-by-side bits of artboards here, and I feel like this is a bit of a missed thing that people don't know that you can do.
Yeah,
like
no.
Your artboards next to each other as separate files.
This is absolutely like, it's not anything very new. Like it's always been kind of around, I feel like, for a long time. I only ever use the side by side. Just for anyone curious, you can do, I think it's up to 6. Yeah, 6 up. I've never used anything except the 2 up vertical or the 2 up horizontal, depending on my format, obviously. And it's great for, you can do 3 up if you've got a reference of where you want to go, your assets and your kind of working bits, and then your artboard. It would make sense like that. But this is great because I can just and it's as easy as let me just make sure I'm on the right window. So you got to make sure you can click between the windows. So if I'm on this window right now and I try to pull the skull from here, it doesn't grab. So I need to make sure that obviously I'm on the right window. And then I'm going to pull this guy across, and it does actually just pull straight across. So I've got him there. I'll do all the changes and things on this artboard, and make sure that this is, again, this will always be my reference or my reference sheet. This is where I'll pick and choose what I need, and if I want, I can tweak it now. I could go in there now before I start doing anything and play with the levels. But when I do this stuff, I kind of know that each one's gonna want to be treated different anyway because of like the style of the artwork. Maybe I want less black in this swooshy pattern over here, and maybe I want the skull to be solid black. So anyway, we'll keep moving. This is our little skull. It just looks like it's a piece of paper with a skull on it. It's probably not very useful. If I wanted to do anything, I just go into adjustments, go into levels, and you can do it that way up in the taskbar up here, or if you want, you can do it down in here. You can go into levels and add an adjustment layer. Double click. Oh, where is it, guys? My little camera's behind it. The properties is over here, and then I can tweak the levels of the artwork from here, and it becomes like an adjustment layer. It's just adjustment layers are great because you can flick them off if you don't want it anymore. If you play with the levels on the artwork, it sets it kind of like permanently, and it's a lot harder to get back to your original state. So that's a nice one to use, is the properties and the adjustment layers. So obviously I did a little rough sketch under this. It's kind of like, it's interfering with the artwork. So I'm just gonna like play with these levels until, still want some of that sketchiness in there, but like I could just knock it all the way back. I want some of that texture. And then I've got kind of that's the state I want it in. I want it cleaned up, and I want to be able to use it in a kind of a more editable state, like not so messy. So now I've got that. I usually put everything in a group. So as I do it, I'll call it like skull original, and then I might just copy that one and I'll merge that group so that I've got a merged layer. So I know I was saying you could go to adjustment. Obviously, you'd put a few more adjustment layers in there anyway, and do some maybe some like a threshold or something, or some stuff to play around. We've only got the one thing, but I like to have like a flattened version, so then I can then go in and I want to get all the blacks out of this. So I'll go to select color range, and then this will select all the black in it, and you can turn the fuzziness down, and obviously it grabs more or less, the lower and higher as you go. You can, I don't know if it's showing up very clear, but you can see it like just
Yeah.
selects more and more black as you go up and less as you go down, obviously. So,
And talk about an old school thing. I think this has been in Photoshop ever since the day I started. I started
the
getting to know Photoshop. Like
the
this
color
is,
range.
yeah,
Yeah, and I find myself, I use it a lot, like a lot,
yeah,
a lot. And I don't know if it's the right way to do this, what I'm doing right now. I'm showing you this is the 40-year-old Dale doing it this way, like this is how I do it. So I'm
Sometimes
sure
the original ways are the best, though. Like sometimes they're awesome.
I also think if
I
it's,
would do it this way. I'd go
yeah,
here.
and if it's not broke, don't fix it,
Yeah.
So now again, I'll create that on a new layer, get rid of that. Oop, didn't even let me. So now I'll just put a background color in here because it's getting a little tricky to see here. Alright, so let's just pick a nice, wait, what's going on here? So now you can see that I've got my background, and that skull is looking exactly how I want it. I want it to feel like it's still a drawing and it's still come from like my hand, like I've created this, and I can play around with it as much or as little as I want. So now that I've got this, and I've got him as just like, obviously, you can see he's got, if I get another color here, sorry. So it has no background anymore, which is what we want, yeah?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's transparent, whatever you want to call it. But so now I can go in and I can do whatever I want to this. So now it's gone from my paper to my artboard. Obviously, this is only a small artboard, so like it's always going to look pretty good. But you do want to be careful about how, I guess, the resolution of this photo versus where it's going. This process that we're going through is probably perfect for doing a little, I don't know, like a little Instagram throwaway or something. Maybe you want to do a little advert for a brand or something. You just want to get some hand drawn elements, or you want to create something that feels a bit natural. This would be perfect. The scanner or a better camera will probably give you a better result if you plan on taking it a bit higher, I guess, because obviously the more beams you give it, the better it grows. So
Yeah.
this is quite, let's call it low res, but it's going to do for us. So now I might go in and I can do some, obviously, like you can go in and add, like, change the color values. You can call it, so you can put a new color on it, and now we've got like an editable color skull. So that's how easy we can add our own colors to it. So these are all just simple clicks. Like it's not rocket science at all. It's kind of like just a nice way to go from sketch to editable art, where you can tweak it, and maybe you don't even like the way this is drawn. So maybe you want to go in and you can go into liquify. So we can go into liquify as well if you don't like some of the shapes. My computer might be a bit slow for this, but
Oh yeah, liquify, like when we're doing live streams, can sometimes be a bit laggy, but I mean, because it's just so CPU intensive.
yeah, well, I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'll explain if it doesn't show up properly. So
it seemed to be fine. It seemed to be fine, to be honest. It's just sometimes it's one of those things that kind of, I feel like maybe it doesn't happen anymore, but like Photoshop goes, oh, I need to use 99% of your computer power while I do this.
Yeah, what are you trying to do here? Okay, so it's only like, so I can go from that shape. I want it to follow that more, so I just went into liquify and I can pull it out, and it's still, we haven't changed it from looking like a natural piece of art, and this is, remind you, like, I know there's down here we've got our, like, if I was to select this part, I know I could go into generative fill and I could say, hey, make this, fill out more of this part or whatever, but there are ways around it. So there are little tricks that you can do to kind of get results that you need. And like we said earlier, like the generative fill is super useful, but this is like nice to feel like you're crafting something on a digital level from hand. So yeah, we'll keep going. Now we've got a color layer. Actually, I'm going to keep all the original bits. So I'm just going back, sorry. All right, so we might pull some other things in. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab some other stuff from here. So again, this is a little bit of a refresher. Go into, select my little, say I want to put a little halo on him. I want to take this, create a new layer, Command J, and just simply pull it across. And then all I have to do is, I can do the adjustment layer again. So I can go in here and I can add the levels. Excuse me. Oops, sorry. That's going to do all of them. Oh, 1 second. And I want this guy to be happening. So I'm going to group these guys. I'm going to merge this. Let's try again. So I'm just going to lift it to get, I kind of want to try to get some of that texture. I don't know if you can see it, but like it's a low res.
That's
but
interesting.
It's got,
I think that's something I've always kind of struggled with a little bit. It's like, yeah, how much, like I understand what's happening with the levels, but like how much do I go this way and this other way?
Yeah, I think for the most part, this is good because it, if I do that same thing, so I'll call that Halo Original. This is how I would usually do it, but I think for the sake of this, I might cut some corners, but like creating new layers and groups and stuff is great. And then like having like a flattened one just helps. It's at least you can go back and play around and, oops, sorry. You can go back and change something and restart from a better point than just a flattened halo and skull, like, so I can still go in and go, oh, I didn't have enough texture. I'm just going to get rid of the white. You can do that, but let's try to do it the way I just showed you. So like color range. I'm just going to grab the blacks, I guess. I'm just going to turn down a little bit, so hopefully it drops a little bit of the white. That's probably going to do a pretty solid job here. Turn this off. This off. The red's super harsh, but you can see the texture is still there.
Yeah, and it doesn't have like the halo effect. I know we're looking at a halo, but like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like the outside. Sometimes when you do this sort of stuff, we used to do it with deep etching all the time, right? Like when you were trying to get something to look natural, you'd end up with like a really thin layer
of like a
anti-aliasing of the software. Yeah. It's so
I think
good when you see it and it doesn't have that.
I think that's the beauty of that color range, right? Like, cause it's getting down to the finest pixel, where obviously like there's going to be times where it does like it's not quite there or quite right, but for the most part, like this works 9 times out of 10. Like you can see that color has retained, like, again, sorry it's low res, I probably should have did a high res demo, but that spotty effect that you would take textures and apply like onto solid colors or solid shapes that you create on Photoshop might take you 10 extra steps. You're only dragging it from here to here, and there's maybe 3 steps involved with getting it there, I guess. Is that like, it's fair to say, like it's endless the amount that you can push it, but I do like the fact that it feels like it's got this transparency automatically, because it's only grabbed those solid parts and you can already see through the maybe I'll use a different color. It's getting that like show through, which is nice. Like it feels like it's quite organic and natural, like it's like you're painting the thing as you go. So I guess
that's really sorry, go on.
No, you're right. I think that the power in it is like that you haven't asked the computer for much help, really. It feels almost like I'm doing it by hand. I know there's a few clicks and layers and things like that, but I don't think it makes it a hard process doing it that way. Like it's quite easy. Where
Mm,
if you were to just prompt it, there's a high chance you're going to be like, oh, not quite there, not quite there. At least
mm,
here we can go in and you can adjust all the levels or the curves or contrast brightness, get all that stuff where you want it to be, and you're in full control. Like it's, you know, I think that's important. I think learning about that is important as well. Like not to say it again, but like once you've been doing it for so long, it's nice to know that these fundamentals in case of, let's call it an AI emergency, when like it's not working for you. You should
mm.
still be out. You need to
Like that.
figure it out. Like you're gonna need to know what's going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really, and I think it's a really fun way to design and
Mm.
to craft something. I mean, obviously you can add a paper texture as well, and kind of have that sort of happening in there as well to give you more of that natural feel. But we'll keep going. I'll do a couple of other things. So let's just get some text in here. Let's obviously it's a skull, so it's going to say skulls. Duh.
Yeah,
Drawing
it's
there.
oh, I forgot my train of thought. Yeah, but back to the, like, we're talking about the aliasing on the outside, like that kind
Yeah,
of, there's this, I mean, I think is appropriate for what we're talking about, is you want the texture, but you don't want the part that makes it seem like it was cut out digitally. Like
yeah,
it's like when you work in Illustrator and when you're first starting out many years ago, and you're kind of trying to draw natural straight lines, and you don't know how the caps work, and
yeah,
you get those sharp things,
yeah,
and then decades later you see portfolios or artwork online or something on a sign, and you're like, oh, that person didn't know that kind of fundamental
yeah,
part of working with vector, and you can
yeah,
see the errors pop out like a spelling mistake.
yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
a bit like that when you're working like with this, like you want that natural organic texture that you were talking about, and
Yeah,
you don't want that stuff that makes it look like a mistake.
yeah, exactly. So, and I think that like the way that the color range captures it is perfect for that exact reason. Like it's
Yeah.
retaining every part of like what's natural. It might take a bit of playing around. I'm not saying it's like spot on perfect every time, but I think crafting and spending time on things is what's lost in like such a urgent environment. Like everyone wants everything today. Like, oh, I could just go and get blah blah to do it. And I think as a business and as an artist trying to make money, you need to be able to prove why you're worth that much, or why our craft is worth that much. And I don't want to sit there and tell people that, just because I can draw, I can make money. It's not just the drawing; it's the the kind of skill set that you have to get it to that finished point. Obviously, there's guys that just draw for money, like a comic book artist for the longest time. That's all they do is draw, but they still take their stuff now digital and do some, coloring and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, the craft is key, I think, or knowing the craft at least. So,
Yeah.
but here we go. Let's get rid of this. So I'm just going to do the opposite to the group session. I'm just going to go to the image adjustments levels, and you can see the difference in how this is built. So it opens a pop-up window, same lighting system as what was in the other one, but once I do this, that looks all right. I like that the overlapping lines are a bit blacker. Thicker, is that the word? Yeah. So there, it doesn't come up with a adjustment layer. I can't go in there and tweak that level or go back, unless I can go undo levels, but this is a more, I guess I would call that, destructive way of
Mm.
design. Not in a negative way, but it's just that's a harder way to go back steps or adjust it further. But we can still make this one work. So again, select same color range. So here's a problem, or here's what you might run into. You can see it's grabbing, like, if I don't grab the color or say the color, you can see all these, like, it's grabbing other things. So I try to do, because it's grabbing the same color range, it's using everything that's visible, right? So always do it. I always try to make sure that I'll do it with just that layer open. So then it can only see that layer. It can't see the skull or the halo.
Mm.
So, and that looks pretty good already, actually. I am happy with that. And you can see you can see that it's got all these like little break-offs, I guess. Like it's not a solid straight cut around. I guess that's where it's like giving some of that like transparency and the effect to come through, letting it come through. Again, new layer, and there you go. It's already got the look we want. And go, oops, sorry. The command click on the layer, highlight it, add solid color, and obviously we're not going for design awards here.
Manny had a question in there actually, like the halo being transparent looks really cool. How did it automatically get transparent?
I believe that is just the computer doing its magic, because you can see this is doing it too. So when I select that fuzziness, the fuzziness is knocking out. So I've only selected that color, not, how do I explain this? I'm the worst person to teach because I don't know technically the way to explain it. But it's grabbing, so like it's grabbing this color here, the green for now, and it's knocking out all the white that was in there. So
yeah,
obviously on the sheet of paper, when we zoom in, let's just try to make this. So when I zoom in there, obviously it looks different to over here, and that's fine. But when I play with the levels, you can see that it's made up out of grayscale, right? So that's thicker than maybe like down here. And then there's little bits of white. So it's only grabbing the darker part and it's knocking out those lighter parts, which is then in turn causing that transparency to kind of come into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the lamest way to explain it, but it's like I think it's the most obvious.
No, I'm with you. It's about the way that Photoshop is treating the pixels. So it's like it's selecting, it's either 1 or 0.
Yeah.
And so it's selecting that as a color, and then anything that's not that color, it's going to be transparent. There's not going to be anything there, and that's what gives you the effect of the texture being see-through.
And there you go. Like, so obviously on them brighter colors like the whites and stuff, the teal. On that teal, it looks a bit harder to see because it's green on blue, but you can see that transparency is definitely there. And which is cool because, to tell you the truth, to get that effect when you've got obviously I can just show you because on my computer. so say I've got this font here. Let's just try anything. Yeah, that's great. So when I've got this, well, you can already see it's worlds apart, right? So we already know like it's worlds apart because one's coming straight from the computer and it's like super crispy, super everything. Like, sorry, Flynn, off that, I put the fuzziness a little bit too low and it did get a little bit of an edge there, but...
Oh, cool. No, that's good because that's a good example of what I was talking about. That's something that it's good because this can happen.
That key line, that is what Flynn was talking about with the... Yeah, so it's going to happen and that's fine. Like, you haven't made a mistake. It's just that's again, like just learning. So you could go back in and pull this back in and try a different frequency, a different amount of fuzziness, and it'll get a bit more clearer. But it doesn't ruin it, I'm kind of still looking at this like, that's a pretty cool design. Like I could send this to print and it's a 1, 2, 3 color design and I'm stoked with it,
I could see that on the pocket of a shirt for sure.
Yeah, like who doesn't want a skull? Like I would never stop being the skull guy. Like it's all I know. But anyway, with getting this kind of thing with a typeface, obviously the harder or the further you take something or work on something, you can get any result. And I know there's 100 ways to use you know, like the gradient maps and things like that, and adding the textures and things like that to get a more hand look on a font. But we're talking about stuff that's, you know, the easiest way to come up with designs when you don't have much digital skills, I guess, or like your skills are, let's call it intermediate, you know. You kind of want to get these looks. It's always better to kind of rely on your grassroots kind of what we get taught as kids and things like that, because it's the easiest way. And I'll say it again, it took 3 steps to get this looking the way it does.
Yeah.
Where if I said, hey, robot, can you please make a skull that's blue with like hand-drawn effect, it's going to take you a couple of shots before it's perfect and to what you want. At least you can draw it down on paper and be like, oh, cool. Scan, cut, paste, add some color. I'm done. Like you've done more creativity in that 10 minutes it would take you to do that than just sitting there typing away at the computer. We spend too much time in front of our screens already. So like, it's nice to be able to go, I have the physical proof that this artwork you see in front of you is this drawing. You know, I don't want to be like the old guy, the grumpy old guy, but like get a bit grumpy sometimes. You know, I want to see people. I want to see the proof. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
there's a lot of that stuff as well. I think, like, even just like, you know, what's like the most engaging social media content right now? It's usually like behind the scenes stuff. Like, it's usually like, hey, this is the polished version, but here's kind of the rough, real life kind of version. Like in it, and there's something to be said about that in terms of, you know, it's like in school, it didn't matter if you guessed the answer right, you had to show your work, right? The teacher wants to see, do you understand what you're doing?
Yeah,
you just use a calculator and press some buttons. So there's something to
feel like that's the way it's going, isn't it? I don't know if I heard this or saw it. That there's certain like digital agencies or like especially for concept art in the gaming world especially, they're wanting like applicants to be able to prove they can draw. Like they're making them almost, it's like an assignment to get the job, and I think that's perfect. Like, let's weed out this is easy, I just, you know, I can prompt it to do what I want, you know. Like, these guys are pure talent getting jobs, and you'd hate for someone to get knocked back without some proof that they could do it. I think tattooing was like that as well. Like, tattooing used to be, you need to go into a shop, ask for the job, and they'll tell you, draw an eagle, show me that you can draw a horse's head, you know. Like, it was hardcore, and I think that's cool, but times are changing. We got unfortunately you got to go with it a little bit. So
it's interesting. Yeah, I've seen some things just on social media, but of teachers forcing their students to handwrite again.
Yeah, well, yeah,
just because they're like, there's no way that I can pick it up anymore. So they're like, we're gonna do way less homework and way more like writing in class, so that I know that you are understanding what we're learning about.
Yeah, maybe everyone's just like confident that this the digital world, you know, will, you know, have you seen Terminator? It could be a collapse, you know, guys. Like, it could go pear-shaped at any moment. All right, so I'm going to keep going on this, and I'm just going to like talk through whatever I'm doing. So I'm doing obviously the same steps through and through, but I do want to go, once I do this guy, I'm going to explain another part of the concept and theory that we're working on here. So bump up these levels. I'm going to make this one a bit more like solid. Yeah, that's.
I feel like this skull's a different style. Was this a different artist?
This was actually me. I was just trying to be like,
was it? Nice.
Yeah, I was like, let's just do like some weird things. Like, what's this guy down here? He looks like Jack Skellington, but like old.
He's a bit rounder, isn't he?
Yeah.
Rounder Jack Skellington.
So I just did the levels twice on this thing because I can see that over here has some obviously tones of the grey, and if I go do the select color range, there's a higher chance it's going to have some of that. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad effect, but it's not what I want. So I can just, obviously I've already bumped up a lot of the black, so now it's taking out a lot of those mid tones which are on the edge there, and it looks way better and easier to select.
Yeah, and that's why you want that consistent. We're going back to the photo, like how to photograph illustration, but that's where having consistent light is really handy as well.
Correct.
You've already got,
you
can see a little bit of fold in the texture in the paper where you've probably picked it up and moved it, or it's moved from a drawer or stuff. You're gonna get that, but yeah, the more even you can get the light, the easier this part gets. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, I didn't even play with the fuzziness. I just grabbed it. Hopefully, I don't even know what's. Looks like it's grabbing extra stuff here, so maybe do it properly. Select color range, white. Oh, sorry, I want the black. That's why I did that. See, this is what happens. I'm gonna select anything with that tone in it, so we don't want that. The easiest way is let's just look one thing at a time, Dale, right?
Yeah.
And look, like I said, there's so many ways to do this, and it's obviously, like, I think this is a nice way to do it because you're kind of using all the things you kind of were taught when you were learning to create. And I'm not saying everyone's an illustrator, but everyone's always done like arts and craft and things like that at some point in their life. Like, you were forced to do it at school as assessments and things like that. So everyone has a concept of like cutting and pasting, and is that not what I'm doing over here? I'm just cutting, pasting, and I'm just like refining it with the tools at hand, but I'm doing it without the assistance of an assistant, you know. I'm crafting like on my own, and I don't know if anyone wonders, but like this is printable art. Like, you're now creating it into a format where if you wanted this, we could put it in multiple colors and it can go to print, like, because now you've got an editable format. I'm not saying this one over here is not printable, but it's obviously it's just a bunch of random stuff, and to get kind of like these lighter tones and things like that, it's a push for certain print processes. You could DTG it or DTF, you know, a digital kind of format print. But if I want to take this to a merch company or even if you want to do a screen printed poster, this is ideally what they want. They want you to pick out Pantones, and I can do it this way, you know. I can get the hex code or whatever for whatever Pantone I need, put it on, apply it for this PMS 123. It's not, but you know, and I can send that to print. Printer opens it up, has a look. Or if I'm going to do separations, I can put them into their channels. I can create the mask for each of their channels. But I think that's stepping outside of intermediate. That's a bit full on. So we'll just keep it as whatever. Let's just call it color fill. All right, so we've got all these. This is all great. You can do, obviously, the cycle continues. You select the color, and then let's just do another blue one. I don't know about that red background, but it's staying there. Not going. All right, so say I've got this little artwork, right, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. That all makes sense. I can create an artwork and make it work on, you know, a scan, cut, adjust kind of level. But also if you have sorry, I'm looking around the room for something that I could, just say I have these glasses and I take a photo of them and I want to do the same kind of concept and cut and paste and use a physical my photo opposed to reference or generated. I'd do the same process. You'd take the photo, you'd get it in. However, I'm just going to use a Google found thing. So cool. I've got, you would never guess, but it's a skull, guys. It's a skull. So just say I was to shoot this skull and that's how I've got it. Same process. I want to turn this into something a bit more, I guess, print friendly, or like, again, I want to be able to interchange colors and stuff a little bit easier. So I do the same thing. I'll go in and black and white the thing, might play with the levels a little bit. And then I would do, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but Adobe has added a couple of extra little goodies on the adjustments, and it's really easy to get some effects that are very popular right now and kind of tie into what we're talking about. It's kind of got more of a hand feel to it, I guess. But I can go in and add a threshold layer, and that instantly looks drawn.
That's down as an adjustment layer, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that makes.
When did we do that?
Let me just talk to my people. They'll get back to your people.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I didn't know that. This used to always be a, copy the layer and then do it and save a version if you wanted to do like this. What's it probably polarized or whatever?
Yeah, posterized.
Posterized, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so posterized is there as well.
Oh,
posterized.
Is it?
So posterized is there. I don't. For the most part of what this part is worth, I guess if you've got a photo and maybe you can't draw, this is your second option. So this is how I would, I would treat something that kind of like seems like it might be like, too much of an ask. That was literally one button. So we've only put one adjustment layer on, and that's already looking like a drawing. I know it's not. Yeah. I know it's not got the hand drawn thing, but I can play around with the levels in here, and I can get it, darker or lighter. Obviously, that all is dependent on your black and white version, obviously. So if I was to play with the tones of the black and white a bit, I would get a little less harsh shadows and things like that. But this is fine because there's just two steps happening here. So I've got that one, and the grain has made its way into the adjustment layers too. So I'll put that really underneath. Cool. Yeah, and this is instantly going to give you it's got like a photocopy Xerox kind of effect. So this is, so it's got a noise thing, but this is exactly what I would use this for kind of the sake of print more than anything. Like obviously when you're printing and things like that, I talk about it a lot. I just deal with a lot of printing. This is the best way to have photo like quality. Obviously we're just talking about two colors here, but I can pull out the black and have that black and white, and that's a pretty good looking skull,
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So I'll just get rid of these because I've already got one that I've done here.
Nice.
So I did this one.
Really cool. And like obviously most people probably do know this, but just in case you didn't, using an adjustment layer like that is a fantastic workflow for not destroying the artwork as you go along. You can go back and make changes.
Exactly.
You could print it out and say, actually, it's too grainy when I print it, or
exactly,
all that sort of stuff.
So the
awesome.
grain is great. I'm sure the grain's only relatively new by putting it in there. But obviously that's the grain without the adjustment. Without the threshold. The threshold obviously dials it back completely, and then it gives you more of a obviously like I said, more Xerox looking. So, but I can click on that grain, and so you can add or take away, obviously. Yeah, cool. So however you want that to look, I like it a little bit there. You can also increase the size of the grain.
Yeah.
So that's and when it says size, it's almost, I would call it amount times 2.
Yeah.
And then the roughness, obviously you can see, they're all kind of just the same thing, really. It's amount of grain or what's being used. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is I've got that. Now I can go, I want to take him. Let's just close this. So here's my little workflow thing. I want to put him in there. So I'm going to just drag that adjustment layer over here, or the adjusted layers. And I'll put him down behind this skull, because they're pretty much, identical. Look at that. You can't even tell which I drew or which is a photo. Pretty good. I'm pretty good at this, guys.
They're identical, yeah.
Yeah, What do you reckon? Yeah. Okay, so I've got that. He's in here now. I'll keep him there as an adjusted, or like I've just called it adjusted, but I might go in here and I just, oops. Sorry. And I'm just going to merge that again. You'll see the little, I notice sometimes when you merge it, that looks like the roughness and the I guess the grain kind of like gets more refined and looks a bit smoother. Maybe it's because this is a low res file, it didn't build much, but yeah, not to worry. Like you said, I've got this layer, I can go in there and change whatever doesn't work. So I'm just going to do the same little trick I've done 14 times today. I'm going to go select color range and just take the black because I only want the black. And obviously this isn't going to have any tonal I guess difference, so it's kind of going to look a bit, but that is what I wanted.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so now I've got like a singular color. I can same thing. You know what? Just for the sake of something different, I'll make it a gradient. So click on gradient fill. Guys, believe me, I've been doing this a long time, but the color choices I've made today make me question everything.
I'm just like trying to made them different colors for illustrative demonstrational purposes.
Correct.
Like some sort of attempt at harmony.
No, look, that's a whole different conversation. But you know, now I've got like this other style of skull that I can switch between, and you know, I can be like, oh well, you know, it still feels handcrafted. It's come from this photo, but I've manipulated it enough that it feels like it's obviously not hand drawn, but like integrated with another design. It kind of feels cool. You know, you got this new look. Like we've just made a design out of like a bunch of riffraff, and like I don't want to be that guy, but I've seen worse things on a shirt. You know,
well, the '90s is back, like in full, from a fashion perspective. And you know what we're all listening to? A lot of us were listening to in the '90s was a lot of punk.
Yeah,
and this is like Thrasher magazine, punk, like that's giving me that kind of magazine vibes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the beauty of like that natural, like it feels like I went old school and I cut all these out and I went through the process to get it to this, but like we can go in and, you know, you can use these effects where like you get these cool effects and stuff that maybe you couldn't do back in the day if you didn't have a Xerox or you didn't have access to this stuff. So I've proven that like a photo, like your phone is physically like it's almost the biggest part of your process. Well, obviously not, like there's a lot more, but I'm shooting things at like entry level phone that's not even a pro or anything. It's just some like random one. And I'm able to get it to a level, get it to a point where you've got like a little, like I've got this library now, like I can just go through here and go, oh, maybe it needs an X. I can even do one step further and just, I can click on this background and I can click on, oh, sorry, not when it's like that. I can just grab that X straight off there and I can pull it straight on. It's already deep etched, already done everything. And that's just using a magic wand and, you know, pulling it over. Like it's so... it gets to a level where it's like it's fun. You're like, oh cool, I'm just gonna like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna walk this thing and just like you know, do weird things and I don't know, be weird. Like the art used to be really weird and it's become very very, I don't know, I don't want to be disrespectful to the industry that I'm in because like I love it and we've been here for so long, but people are forgetting this stuff was meant to be fun. Like when we create it was supposed to be fun. So yeah, but tomorrow I want to kind of take it to the next level and say, you know, that's great, it's Photoshop, but there is a way that we can do the same kind of cool, kind of crafty, like hand feel thing in Illustrator. Not to this degree, but like there is a way to make vector friendly artwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what it's all about. Go in and make no sense and just have fun with it.
Play around with it. Very David Carson kind of energy. We're right at time, so we might lose Manny and some other people that are on minutes, but YouTube will still be fine for a minute. But thank you so much. That's awesome. That does take us to the end. We are out of time.
Awesome.
But yeah, takes me way back. I was trying to remember them, racking my brain I did a live stream years ago with like a Sydney-based magazine, and they were still doing everything like that.
It's so sick.
I can't remember, what was it? I'll message you because you'll know.
Yeah.
Marrickville. They're in Marrickville.
Okay.
But yeah, and they were still doing like scanning, photocopying, and I think they even had a fax, and he just faxed stuff to himself.
It's so sick. Yeah.
Because it was just like, that's just how we always did it. It's how I learned it. You know, they were using Photoshop in InDesign. Yeah, like, that's pretty much all I use.
And he made it work, right? Like you make it work.
Paste and that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think there's quite a resurgence of that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
That was awesome, Dale. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure hanging out and talking to you. We could probably stream all day, talk about this stuff, but we will take a break. I'll give you a break, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for watching live and on demand and all that stuff. We'll see you tomorrow on Adobe Live.
Awesome. Catch ya.
See you guys. Bye.